quite a bit going on. And we're living in a time now when people's faults and failings, if they're done publicly, or if somebody get it on camera, then the world will know about it almost immediately. You know, it takes an extra effort today to be able to do damage control. You know, people get to see things, and then everybody gets to weigh in on it. You know, one of the things that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches us is that we're supposed to study ourselves. Before I go into the verse, I want to go into the chapter on misery. I also want to go back and read exactly what it says about this studying ourselves and why. In chapter 3, it says, if you would ask me, in verse 14, he says, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves. It says yourselves with an S on it. And you well have studied them. And then will ask me what to study next. I will reply yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that. So I want to stop there for a minute, because the teacher in the chapter said, if you would ask me what to study, I would reply yourselves. And let's think about that for a minute. Because the natural inclination of carnal-minded people is to look outside of themselves. That's the natural inclination. That if they're seeking for knowledge, if they're seeking for understanding, they're seeking for, wisdom and all of these great things that we talk about, we're going to look outside of ourselves for those things. But the teacher here in this chapter said, if you would ask me what to study, I would reply yourselves. And the first thing that he talks about, because we are taught in this chapter as well, that we have two selves, a higher and a lower self. That's everybody. The people we like, the people we don't like, the people we love, the people we don't care about. Everybody has a higher self and a lower self. And what's what he says about the lower self and studying the lower self? He said, he who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world. Think of it. You have to go inside of yourself first for you to know the illusions of the world. So I've been thinking about this today. I said, I got to study myself to know the illusions of the world. See, because sometimes, we dress up, right? Like I, put this nice, fez on, charm around my neck and all of that, and speaking in my best English, to give this presentation, right? So sometimes what happens is we will tell lies to ourselves, right? Because we'll tell these lies to ourselves and to others, because if you don't see me doing something, then I believe that you don't know that I do anything wrong. Like if I'm a thief, right? If I go and steal, if you don't see me do it, then I believe that you don't know that I'm a thief, or that I even have the potential to be a thief, because you ain't seen it. So I can be a whole lot of things secretly that you don't know about because you haven't seen it. In this chapter right here, it says that we are to study ourselves. And it says that when I know well my lower self, I know the illusions of the world. So for me to get to know what's happening in the world, I got to look at me first. Let's think about that. Because if you stop telling yourself a lie about how great you are in character and behavior, then you will be able to understand the character and behavior of others. Because some of the things that we think about that we may not do, others may think about and do it. Because it all begins in the thoughts. It begins with a thought. Every action, every behavior begins with a thought. I often say in how others who understand this spend a lot of money and a lot of time trying to influence our thinking. That's why the time that we live in, we'll say that, oh, it's a great thing that you can be able to, communicate with people all over the world. And yes, it can be a great thing, but it also can be a detriment. Because we can become exposed to a lot of things, a lot of different thoughts that are meant to influence the way that we think. Because when our thinking is influenced, then our actions and our behaviors are influenced.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll be told how to think. We'll be told the opinion that we should have without us even realizing it, because we have been influenced consistently by other people's thinking. When we study our own lower self, we know the illusions of the world, meaning the things that's going on. So nothing becomes of a surprise to us. But if we're not careful and we're not studying ourselves and we're looking outside of ourselves, what happens is that we immerse ourselves into the thinking of others and we are influenced by it. Thus, our actions and our behaviors are influenced by how we spend our money, how we spend our time, what kind of car we got, what kind of house we got, what kind of clothes we wear. The whole 9 yards. I was sitting watching Sister Dan. I don't mean no harm. I know we've heard this 1,000 times, but we were standing in line, and she had, the hair was like way down here, and she was doing like this. And I swear, the first thought that came to my mind was that a Caucasian woman, right, with the, flinging the.
Yeah.
That's what. And I said to myself, that behavior was influenced by something on the outside. Well, see, she had been influenced to believe that to buy that hair, because it was brought hair, right? It was brought. And it's not a down on our sisters and what they do, because brothers, we buy some stuff too that we are influenced to buy. But I was just, I'm just sharing the thought that the experience that I had, and I was saying, wow, she had been influenced to believe that hair that she brought was good hair. It was better than the hair that she has. And with it on, she was able to transform, had the mannerisms and all of that of somebody else, flinging it and everything, like other people do when they have that hair naturally. We got to study ourselves. That lower. See, we don't really want to be. The biggest thing that most of us are in fear of in this world is ourselves. To be able to face where we really are. And you notice I said where we really are, not who we really are, because who we really are should not make us afraid. It's where we are that makes us afraid, because we have to be honest in where we are in our thinking. What influences us? Is it other people's ideal of beauty? Is it other people's ideal of success? Is it other people's ideal of right and wrong? We got to be careful. Because we could be acting out in a behavior that's influenced by somebody else who really don't care nothing about us, but only want to see us like the hamster on the wheel. You know, you seen the hamster on the wheel?
Yes, sir.
He just running. He ain't going nowhere. Keep spinning. Somebody said running in place, going nowhere fast. A whole year done passed, right? You know, I listen to the whole rap stuff. You know, I've been influenced. But spinning the wheels in place, doing the same. The hamster doing the same thing. If you put that wheel in the hamster cage, you leave. He on that spin on the wheel. You come back, leave, go out the room, go upstairs, whatever, do whatever you do. Come back. The hamster still, if he ain't tired enough, fell out, he'd be still in the same place, spinning on that same wheel, going nowhere in the same spot in that cage. Imagine that. Imagine that most of the time that's how we are. Like a hamster in a cage spinning on a wheel. And the bad thing about it is that this behavior we are conditioned into. Because it is of others' benefit that we do the wheel spinning. It's of others' benefit that we consume the way that we consume. It's of other benefit that we see the things important that we see important, that are really only important to them, not to us, not beneficial to us. So I said, so I put a little title up there today, you know, the shame and the glory are misplaced. Yes. And in the description, I'll put that so-called black culture is literally killing us. Literally. Because the shame and glory are misplaced. Chapter is misery. And today it really dawned on me how befitting the title of this chapter is, misery, when it comes to the subject of the shame and the glory being misplaced. And this is what it says. It says, I want to read this. I'm going to try to read it as clearly as I can. Feeble and insufficient as thou art, O man, in good, frail and inconstant as thou art in pleasure, yet there is a thing in which thou art strong and unshaken. Its name is misery. It is the character of thy being, the prerogative of thy nature. In thy breast alone it resides, and without thee there is nothing of it. What it's telling me, what I'm getting out of this, when it talks about misery, right? That without my participation, misery don't exist.
That's right.
Woo!
That's right.
That's heavy. That's like a heavy one to lay on me. You trying to tell me that misery only exists in my life because of me? See, these some of them harsh realities, man, that we gotta face. That we are the authors of the confusion. We are the authors of the hell. We are the authors of the misery. When we face those things, then we'll stop doing it. I often say, if it was a tack or a nail in that chair sitting up, and you sit down on it and it hurt, and you just stay there and keep talking about how that nail or that tack in your butt hurt, that's your pain. You must love it. Because if you didn't, you would immediately jump up and begin to start addressing that pain. We have been conditioned to just cry about the misery and pain. because we won't do the work of removing the most important factor out of the equation, and that is us. 1 + 1 = 2. That is a simple mathematical equation. Simple. 1 + 1 = 2. There's two sides of the equation. There's the 2 on this side of the equal sign, and there's a 1, and there's another 1 on the other side. If you remove any one of the ones out of it and put any other number in it, then it's an untrue equation. It is false. If misery and hell and all that are a result of what we do, if you remove us out of the equation, then misery and hell and all those things don't exist for us. That's right. That's the bottom line. See, we got to keep this simple. Yes, people can get into all kind of intellectual conversations about how so many machines and secret societies and all this stuff is involved. But I declare that when you come down to the nuts and bolts and we leave outside this door and we go into our neighborhoods, it is us in the neighborhood doing what we're doing. And it is us who give substance to what is going on in our neighborhoods. You got people that go to work every day, pay their bills and all that. See somebody's brains get blown out on the corner. Oh, I ain't got nothing, I ain't got to do that. As if your brains can't be next for nothing. And anybody that try to do something to stop it, we'll call them a snitch. I remember when we had the t-shirts and all that stuff, stop snitching. What were we saying? Look, let us tear down the neighborhood and kill who we want to kill. You better not say nothing. The shame and the glory have been misplaced. Because I declare, I know about a dark side of life. Yes, sir. Right? See how I learned it was this, that if me and you are in it together, right? And I go and tell it, that's what's called snitching. That lady in the house that look out the window and seeing us out there breaking into somebody's car and call the police, she's not a snitch. She's a law-abiding citizen that want to get us two people off the street, but we steal her car next. But the shame and the glory has been misplaced. We will label that lady a snitch. People who get up every morning and go to work. Oh, you know, they down there snitching. They down there snitching. What they selling? What they selling? Crack? Hell? No, they don't sell nothing. They don't do nothing. Well, maybe they sick of them sitting on their step all the time. Maybe they sick in the middle of the night, keep hearing gunshots. Maybe they tired of it. But we got a label that we put on it. The shame and the glory have been misplaced. Because what we're really doing is we're glorifying the hell that's in our very communities. We're glorifying it. And we're giving it a pass. And then we play a game. Here's the game we play. Election time come around, and the politicians play the game right along with us. They all come around, we need to get tough on crime. And every politician they know, especially in a city like Baltimore, where there seems to be a murder every day, a murder 2 or 3 every day, right? They know the song to sing to get the votes. So they're coming around. Oh, crime, we need to get tough on crime. And this is what I'm gonna get rid of. I'm gonna clean up they ain't got no real plan of how you're gonna do it. You're just saying what the people want to hear. See, because and you're talking to the same people that have a code, which they say, stop snitching. This is not how this gonna work. And the politicians know about the code too, because they don't snitch on each other. You know it. Almost every mayor, and the sad thing about it, it's been a sister. Every mayor we done had in the last 10 years done went to jail. But ain't no whole lot of other people went. And they weren't the only one whose pocket was getting greased, or whose hand was getting greased. They weren't the only one. But they had a code to stop snitching. But see, I understood. If your hand getting greased and that one hand getting greased and both y'all together, then yeah, that's snitching. But we'll play this game. So we'll have the politicians and we'll say, well, you know, okay, we're going to put you in the office to deal with the problem that we don't want to deal with because we're not snitching. So we need for y'all to deal with the problem. We ain't going to do nothing because we ain't seen nothing. We ain't heard nothing. And we don't know nothing. All we know is that a body, 2 or 3, is dropping every day. Then we got our big corporations and things that don't live in Baltimore City. But they seem to finance and throw a whole lot of money behind our young brothers who rap lyrics about killing. Selling a whole lot of drugs, having a whole lot of cars. And we'll play these songs, you know, as we ride along in our car, right? Our children will hear them. They know a lot of the lyrics, right? They'll hear it, and they know it, and they know the words well, and they know the names of all of them, and they know all the little so-called beef that they have with each other on social media, and they'll sit around, and they'll applaud it, and they'll take sides in it, and we are participating in our own misery, in our own hell. We are giving honor to those who are perpetuating our own hell. We're applauding them. But the one that's trying to do the right thing, he's soft. She's a sellout. And then we'll turn around and we'll start crying when things don't seem to be going our way. We was at where I work talking to, yeah, you know, everybody that got reparations for us. Reparations for what? So you can give it back? What you gonna do with it? You hate yourself, and therefore you hate me. So we ain't gonna do nothing together. So what you gonna do if they gave you all the money that you think that you owed in compound interest? What you gonna do with it? It ain't enough places for you to run and hide away from yourself and everybody else that look like you that you don't like anyway. That's why my sister today had the hair that she brought that was all the way down here because she don't like her hair. How much more can you buy? You can't wear it all at one time. I don't know. Somebody might try. That might be a new thing. I say our thinking gets influenced. And here go on to say that gave the reason to subdue it, and thou shalt trample them under their feet. It says, thy entrance into the world, is it not shameful? Thy destruction, is it not glorious? Think about how many of our young brothers have lost their lives. And oh man, we go on and on and on. You may sometimes even catch the video if it was caught on camera. So like I'm telling you, it's cameras everywhere today, catching all kinds of stuff. If it was caught on video when you got shot all up, it'd be all over the internet. Oh man, look how many times they shot him. Well, they wasn't playing. He said, men adorn the instruments of death with gold and gems. I'm not even gonna touch that. Because I don't want to offend anyone. But we wear some adornments above our garments. We wear some jewelry above our garments, which actually glorify death. But I'm gonna move on. It said, he who begetteth a man, and begetteth simply means that he who brings a child into the world, right? He who brings a child into the world, hide his face. But he who killeth 1,000 is honored. See, the man who bring a child into the world, who is a part of bringing up a child to the world. Oh, you know, got that girl pregnant, that boy. You know, it's a sad day. Now what you gonna do? You got to go get a job now, but you got to go do this. You got to go do that. Our culture teaches, you know, girls, look, take them down there to child support now, so you can. Moving on along. I tell you, I don't want to offend nobody. I'm gonna tell the truth, right? No, notwithstanding that, and this is error. Custom cannot alter the nature of truth. Let me say this again: that custom cannot alter the nature of truth. We have a lot of customs. We have a lot of customs in society today that attempts to alter the nature of truth. In the description, I said that Black culture is literally killing us because of how we think, what we hold as important, what we participate in. Like, everybody want to talk about what happened at the Oscars. First of all, let me say this on the record. I don't care nothing about the Oscars. It's nothing in the Oscars that's going to help in the murders that's going on in Baltimore City right now. So it's not something that I need to keep talking about. That's one. Number two is that it's not something that we should have been having a whole lot of dialogue about, because there was two brothers on national TV on the spotlight. One who everybody has participated in the ridicule of for what was going on in his little life. And we can have shambles just like his. It's just that ain't nobody pointing the camera at us and reporting on what's going on in our life. So we'll feel good when we see the chapter is misery. We'll feel camera on somebody else exposing their misery, so we don't have to think about our own misery.
That's right. Go on, Mo. It's now.
So we ain't got to think about our own misery. It's part of so many jokes about what's been going on in his life. And unfortunately, another brother had to feel his frustration. It ain't nothing to be playing about. It ain't nothing to be joking about.
We're talking about. It's not.
Here's the reality. It ain't nobody, most people that's joking and talking about it can't do nothing to make it better. And don't have a clue to do to make it better. I mean, some of these fools go, man, what I would have done. Yeah, we always got a lot of bad talk. See if you was in Chris Rock's position and how much you have been conditioned to know that you can gain or lose in a moment, and see what you have done. Yeah, we be talking that talk, but like I said, we have been influenced by a lot of things on the outside of us and how we react, how we act out in life. He immediately went and did a stand-up. Ticket sales went up. Look, I don't care whether you think it was staged or not. I don't care. I really don't care. I begin by saying this, that we got to study ourselves of the world. We'll know the things that pass away, because in a minute it's going to be something to focus on what's going on with them, so you don't focus on what's going on. And you can spend some time talking about what's going on with them. You got people, all they do is do like, that's what they do. Oh, you know, he should do this. Then some people got little channels and YouTube stuff. They get on there talking. And if it was me, I would have did this. And we'll all, man, shut up. Put on camera what's going on in your life. Put on camera when somebody smacked the spit out of you. Put on camera when you go to work and that boss at your job lean on you. Come on, put it on camera. And let us talk about that. Put on camera how you're afraid to go up the street to the corner store. Put it on camera so we can talk about that. Put on camera about how you too afraid to do anything about what's going on in your community. So you dump it all on the politician as if the politician gonna come in Park Heights and solve all the problems. You know he can't.
You keep looking.
But you rather believe in a lie, right? So you can spend your time doing it and buying long hair. I'm gonna find something. I know sisters probably say, "Yo, you keep on the sister. Y'all do some stuff. Yeah, we brothers do. We do dumb stuff too. We spend time and money on dumb stuff too. Try and be somebody else, because we don't know who we are. So we identify with everybody else but us. Because we spending so much time outside of ourselves. And then we'll spend all this time outside of ourselves. And some of us will be very intellectual. Oh man, we'll bring it down. Everything that's going on outside ourselves. Let me hear some intellectual breakdown about what's going on out backstabbing, backbiting, slanderous selves. Let me hear a breakdown on that. Let me hear a breakdown on that. Please, somebody could. What I want to hear is somebody intellectually break down their misery and their own foolishness. Because I swear, if you look at people and how they comment and how they talk, you will swear that everybody in the world is floating in the air and is perfect, except the one person that we're talking about right now. Yes, sir. But the chapter tells me that we got to study our lower self so that we know the illusions of the world. Because it takes all of us collectively to make up the illusions in the world. The illusions in the world don't just poof there. We all contribute to it, each one of us with our damn foolishness. Each one of us. Everybody is a participant in the hell that's going on today.
Islam.
Ain't no innocence. They said with the little babies, they've been here before. They got some stuff to work out. That's why they here.
Come on.
Man, if you believe in a just and merciful God, why he keep sending no innocence here? Everybody, because ain't nobody innocent. Everybody got to work out their part in the creation of the hell. Everybody.
Islam.
And we're not going to work out this creation of hell until each and every one of us go inside of ourselves. We say that understanding is the rock on which we build ourselves. So at least I gotta try to understand why you act like a damn fool. And I begin with that understanding of why you act like a fool by looking at myself and my foolish thoughts.
Come on, Mo. That's right. Islam.
If I think it, I may say it. If I say it, I may do it. Some of us are a little better, and we're just keeping to ourselves and our thinking. Some of us are not. Some of us think it and say, whoo, let me do that. And then we all got the things that we just go ahead and do. We all do. See, this is not comfortable. It's more comfortable for me to sit and talk about Cunningham Mill. And you know Cunningham Mill, man. Keep talking about he had to go out to Columbia again. That's easy.
Yes, sir.
That's easy. And I can intellectually break down what's really going on. As if I got a direct line connected to his brains. and I can hear his thoughts. All that time and all that effort. For what? What are we accomplishing? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, while we talking about how Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, meanwhile, back at the ranch, you better go and look outside before you go out there because you may catch a stray bullet. And it ain't going to be Will Smith or Chris Rock firing that body out. And while we hold on to our culture that says, stop snitching.
Till it happened to us.
Right. Till it's one of us or one of our family or one of us. Somebody knows something. Of course they do. But remember, you were saying last year, stop snitching. You were just standing outside with Miss Rose and them talking about them towards that telling. Yeah. We'll be understanding it when we do real snitching. Like me and you breaking the law together, and now I'm facing football numbers, and I go ahead and tell on you and everybody else. Yeah, boy, they better told on somebody. We understand that. The stool pitching and the snitching and all that began among criminals. Right? We don't took a criminal way of thinking, and we don't integrated it into black culture. So now it's part of black culture. Don't snitch. Okay. Then stop crying about them bullets flying. Because the majority of us, we ain't out there shooting guns. We going to work and hoping we make it. And while you going and hoping, and you not snitching, stop crying at the same time. And when it's one of your children, he is caught by a stray, a loved one, someone close to you, we on one head. Don't be all on the news talking about it. Because remember, you said stop snitching. So what you want me to do now? So you need to give it back, man. We need to give back this way of thinking to who it belongs. Man, from our culture, let's talk about our real culture. In our real culture, the whole community get together and beat the brakes off of you.
That's how it used to be.
In our real culture, if you put your hands on a woman, you'll be put out in front, and the hand get put on you.
That's right. That's right.
Drag you around. Why? So that everybody can see. And anybody that was thinking like you was thinking, because remember, we all got a lower self. Some man somewhere, he might have been thinking about laying a big hand on his wife, but he look at how the community will beat the brakes off you and say, oh no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to go ahead and find another way to deal with this woman. But it's not going to be me putting my hands on her, because they're going to drag me out there and beat the brakes off of me too. He thought twice about laying my hands on the goods of my neighbor. Why? Because I'll be handless tomorrow. So, no, I ain't stealing nothing. They would have cut my hand. See, some things, right, until we can learn that it's really just not right to do it, and that a thought is just a thought, right? It's just like seeing a nice car ride down the street, and you look at it and you admire how nice it is. It's just a car riding down the street. Eventually, it's going to ride out of sight. And you let your thoughts ride out of sight just like it. Until the discipline to do that, then you'll have a fear that if you steal somebody's stuff, that hand going to be gone. If you kill somebody, guess what? No, we ain't got to go through no whole lot of trial, date, and court and all that stuff. You murdered him, and he did nothing. About some money, okay. We got you. You raped somebody's child? Oh yeah, okay. Don't worry. You ain't got to worry about being a registered child sex offender and all that stuff. You ain't got to worry about that anyway. We'll take you through all that stuff. We got something for you. Think it all you want, but when you act on it, we got something for it. But now we want to stop snitching. So while we stop snitching, people snatching our young girls. While we stop snitching, people are killing our young boys in the street. While we stop snitching, people are breaking in our houses. While we doing all the things that we don't integrate it into our culture, while we are glorifying and raising up our young men who are out here rapping about murder and death and all that thing. And it's the funniest thing. It'll tell you it is the funniest thing that some of them talk real gangster, but when they get locked up, and they got the company money behind them to get lawyers. Oh Lord, please help me. Give me house arrest, son. I'll take house arrest in Iowa, Utah, anywhere, but being locked up in here. Yeah, I know.
Yes,
And we'll see it because you got those reporting on it. We'll see it, we'll hear it, and we'll forget about it. And they come right back out. They could be a gangster all over again. Oh man, Black culture is killing us because the shame and the glory are misplaced.
That's right.
Ain't no glory for nobody that keep talking about that. And I was raised on that kind of talk. I seen it as a child coming up. I seen it in action as a child coming up. I was influenced by what I saw and what I heard, and I went to try to emulate it. And all I did was create hell for myself. At what point, and here's the bad thing. There's a lot of older people now talking this foolishness all out in the public. Some of them, this OG crap. You know what? I'm gonna come up with another thing for this. Instead of being old original gangster, the original goofy. That's what the G for, goofy. Still trying to hold on to this persona. Why? Because the shame and the glory are misplaced. You get on there and get on YouTube and all these other social media platforms and talk this foolishness. People come to you in droves. Come in droves. We don't even understand this concept called karma and how what you put out is what you get back. So if you keep putting this out into the universe, you keep putting this out into our community, you got to get some of it back. OG. Old goofy. Man, the worst thing that I heard from somebody from back in my past that was younger than me, he said to me, he said, man, I remember, man, when I was younger, I wanted to be just like you. And man, I ain't feel good at all. Because I wasn't this person that I'm trying to be today, then, that he wanted to be like. The shame and the glory have been misplaced in his mind. If his father was taking care of his family and feeding his family and going out and doing the thing necessary to feed his family, he should have wanted to be like him, not no fool like me. But that's what he said to me. And I never forgot about that. Because it was at that moment that I understood that our behavior has consequences that go beyond even us.
Yes, sir.
That go beyond even us. This ain't no put down of my people who call themselves black, because here's the reality. Even some of the ones that dress up, nice fez on, put all the nice stuff on, do the same stuff. Do the same stuff. There is no distinguishing us. So we can shut up too and put up. I just had a conversation with my wife today about some of her experiences with the Moore sisters. And those experiences are no different than experiences she might have had with some sisters in the neighborhood that call themselves bees and niggas and things of that nature. And I look at it, I listen to it, I say to myself, And that's why I say, and that's how I come by how I come. That's how I'm gonna keep. We always talk about keeping it real. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell the truth on myself and about our circumstances. See, because we gotta stand up. And the first thing that we gotta do is stop faking it. See, we think that when we put all this stuff on, that we have to present this persona to the world as if we're perfect. Well, that's a lie. We are perfect in the seed of us, just as the people who we're trying to convince that we are. See, we all got the same seed. I don't care what you call yourself.
Right.
We just at different places along the way into developing and cultivating that seed. So we're not perfected. We're perfect,
Right.
but we're not perfected.
Right.
Perfected simply means that in the here and now, in the condition that I'm in right now in this flesh, I got some issues to work out. Like we all do.
Mm-hmm.
But those issues don't stop us from doing the right thing for each other.
That's right.
And towards each other. See, if we stop faking, we can be a little less harsh on each other. And we can stop always being like this. Oh, look at him. Yeah.
The worst thing in the world is greed.
Fingers always move and talk about somebody else like when you fart, it don't stink. Like when you wake up in the morning, your breath don't stink. Oh, man. Come on now. And what I'm really saying is that acting as if you ain't got some stuff going on with you that you don't want to see broadcasted live for everybody to talk about. We get so caught up in this stuff that we will broadcast our business about other people close to us and our family out loud as if it make us look better. Like it make me look good to go on social media and talk about McCullough Bay. McCullough Bay with me. That's my brother. that's foolish. that's gonna make me look better. I'll talk about him. It's like us as Moors, we think that people gonna make any distinction if we go out on YouTube and all these places we talk about another Moor. People don't make no distinction between us like that because we got them thoroughly confused about what this is really about. We got the world attention, Moors. Listen to this. We got the world confused about what this is really about, so they see us all together. If they look at one of us, they think all of us crazy and talk about sovereign citizens. They think we about that.
Yeah.
They think we all about that.
Yeah.
The first thing my uncle said, I joined the Templeman years ago, decades ago. The first thing that my uncle said, "Oh, you one of the ones that don't pay taxes." How is that the only thing because that's what was going on in Baltimore City at the time with the Moors in the city. So he immediately attached me to them, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. So that's just a news flash. If you think exposing somebody else separates you from them, you are sadly mistaken. Let's stop faking. Because if we don't materialize or bring it to the reality of what this is really about, man, we just intellectualizing this thing and sounding good sometimes on Friday, putting on our nice white stuff with our black fez and our charm on and sounding real good. Man, I ain't been doing no live for a while because this is where I'm at, man. I'm so sick of talking. I understand part of my responsibility as a leader, man. I got to go into these lessons. I got to try to share them with other people. I understand that. I understand that obligation, but there's another part of me that, man, I don't want to do no whole lot of talking. I want to do some walking, and I want to get with Moors and people in general that want to walk this life and help one another walk it like we talking. See, because the walk hit harder than we can go down on Pennsylvania Avenue and walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and see people down there hungry, going in trash cans and stuff like that. Man, we was down there and brother was asking for the sternals, the little burners to keep the food. So at first I'm like, man, no, you can't get them, bro. We need to use them. But then it dawned on me, he live in a vacant house. He needs something to get some heat and some light while he's in the house. See, I can be down there talking and pull the Quran out. brother, and Jesus said, he hungry. And it's getting ready to get dark. And you trying to figure out how you gonna have some light in that vacant house, and you sitting up there talking about what Jesus said. Yeah, okay, I like Jesus too, bro. But listen, I got to go. Talking. Oh man, listen, this is what I'm gonna do, brother. Because I'm gonna bring this to a close. So won't you come out and take over the podium, brother. Close this out. But come with your flight jacket on, brother. It's all right. It's long. But look, just give me 1 second here. That's my brother right there. 1 second here while I close this thing on out because I talked long enough. Right. But I just want to emphasize this thought. That the shame and the glory, let's stop glorifying those things that destroying us.
That's right.
Even if you don't feel as though you have it within your power to do anything about it, stop glorifying it. At least. Y'all know a lot of we hooked on the gangster music. A lot of us was raised up on it. When they threw the monkey wrench in there and phased out Public Enemy and De La Soul and all the ones that was rapping, no, for real.
Yeah,
Watch it, man.
Public Enemy, yeah.
It's a brother that talked about the Dulu or the Dolo twist, right? They threw a twist up in there, right? And it seemed as though they was hard on NWA, censoring them and all that. But everything that came after them was about, you had cocaine rap, you had gangster rap. And that's the thing that is predominant today. That dominates the industry of so-called rap. And it permeates through our community. We got to ask why. We don't spend a whole lot of money on it, but we are the most influenced by it. You even have older men now, pants hanging down. Man, if you don't pull your pants up, you gonna get a Will Smith. You don't stop walking around here looking like the fool, man. Stop playing. Perpetuate. I'm telling you, anytime as we get older, we're being influenced by the thinking of what seems to be new. We done lost our damn mind. We done lost it. We done lost it. How is it at this stage I'm gonna be influenced by something that's going on today when I done been there and done that? The hell with it. It don't change. If you put all the same ingredients in a great cake, if you do it every time you use those same ingredients in the same mix and you cook it at the same temperature, you'll get the same cake. Good. Right? If you keep on mixing the same stuff, that same foolishness with that same way of thinking, you will get the same thing. Hell.
Yes, sir.
Well, how is it today that I can be influenced by one and two, I can glorify it? Even if I'm too afraid to try to do something to change it. Because I understand that's part of the problem too. Oh man, these young people today, they just, man, come on, man. They were saying that about our people in the 70s. They were saying that about them in the 60s. I'm going backwards, ain't I? We can come on up in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, saying the same thing about each generation.
Yeah.
We always been go for bad. The prophet said as a people. So this stuff here ain't nothing new. We just ain't had no discipline and structure in a while. That's what this is about. This is about discipline and structure. And we'll come into it and try to tear that down because we want to do our own thing. But doing our own thing is what we've gotten the same thing over and over and over again. So miss me with that. It don't work.
It's not.
It was reported the prophet say, your way you want and your way you will have, but your way won't work. Because if your way would have worked, it would have been no need for God to send you a messenger. You needed to get the message.
It's not.
And if you ignore the message from God, then stop crying. And go ahead and sit on that nail and keep crying about it hurt.
Yeah.
I like to keep it simple. Because complexity, man, I ain't, I was good at math and all those things, man, but I ain't trying to figure out no big, long, drawn out equations and all that stuff. I don't know. Come on, I ain't got this thing. 1 + 1 = 2. What do you say? Me plus foolishness equal hell. All right. Let me take me out.
Right. That's right.
Easy. I done changed the equation for me.
Right.
Now, if each one of us remove ourselves out of the equation of you plus foolishness equal hell, we can bring the hell to an end for ourselves. Don't mean we all gonna start floating around in the air like Peter Pan and all the rest of it. Right. Don't mean we gonna float, but we ain't, man, look, we ain't engaging in a whole lot of foolishness. And when one of us start talking foolishness or acting, we say to each other, now, come on now. Come on now. We be able to say to each other, come on with that foolishness. And we hear each other and say, yeah, man, you know what, I was tripping for a minute. See?
Yeah.
If people weren't participating so much in the ridicule of Will Smith when he was going through all he was going through with his family, and he had some people that was really genuinely loved him that was in his corner, right? They'd have been sitting with him. And somebody could say, oh, hold on, man, I'm done. I know you ready to do something dumb, but no. Let that go. We'll holler at him afterwards.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. We ain't even gonna deal with the sister in this. We ain't gonna deal with that. We're talking about men right now and how we need to be with one another to help each other from doing foolish stuff. But when we participate in backbiting and slandering and passing along stuff about each other, we can't do that for each other. Only thing we can do is sit with our camera on. Let me catch this one. I know you're ready to do something crazy. Had enough, man. But listen, with that, I want to leave you as I came in peace.
Islam.
Islam.
I like to thank our peace for timely message. I rise in praise to Allah, standing out to the Prophet Noble Ali, standing out to the fallen Prophet of Moss Mozart Garvey, who came with lines, rules, and I want to my nation comes with will, on God with aim with destiny, standing out to the first appointed Supreme Grand Chief, the Supreme Grand Council, Brother Emil Yale, sending honor to our National Grand Chief, Brother G. Turner L. and his cabinet, sending honor to our Supreme Grand Chief, Brother R. Elvis Hill, and our Supreme Grand Council, standing honor to all our officials, standing honor for Friday, the holy day for Muslims all over the world. Islam. And at this time, I'd like to have a reading about Salvation of God, Unity, the More Science of America, Divine Proclamation, January 1929. Proper one, all Muslims got more to read the proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members they must send all radical agitating speeches while they work in their homes on the street. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop blasting your card at your opinions and cause confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Fail to obey these orders to be severe consequences. We're for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when those principles are violated, just them will take its course. Any member who remembers this building towards the temple of the prophet or violates divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true warriors will and must obey the laws laid out from by their prophet. They lose confidence in their prophets, they turn their card button, seek to run terminal affairs, and return to the state without a prophet found. This is the holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. The prophet's not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is therefore sending out divine plea to all Moorish Americans that to do their part. The temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people for their sins by order of Prophet Noble Ali. Peace. Islam. And at this time, this is where we hold the meeting.